In today's video, I'm going to show you guys how I get cheap hay for my duck house. So I'm driving around with a load of hay in the back of my truck. I just picked up about 10 bales or 12 bales. I've got to drop this load off and then come back to the farm that I'm buying the hay from and drop off another load. I really hope that this stuff doesn't dump. Buying all this hay from this guy Sherm. I met him through some friends who I've helped hay in the past. I was even over at Sherm's place this summer helping load up bales of hay over there. In fact, one time there was this giant round bale of hay that escaped the baler and rolled down a hill. It almost crushed somebody. It was like a Vermont tumbleweed. So I had 14 in the last one.
Really?
Yeah, so whatever works. I guess we'll just fill it up again. So this right here is one of the reasons why I'm really glad I traded in my Volkswagen for the pickup truck. I find that I go through about a bale a week when I'm in here spreading this stuff. So I assume that 25 bales will cover me for about 6 months. That'll work down most of the hay that you see here, as well as all the straw. And by the time I run out of it all, it'll be warm enough that I won't need to have the house insulated. So it's one of those things where it's like I've got my own built-in drawdown philosophy. Once all this stuff is consumed, it'll all be packed down on the ground, and I'll have to bring it out in the springtime. And I'll probably bring it out in the form of compost. Now I know some of you might be saying, gosh, you know, if you used straw, the compost that you'd make would be much better and there wouldn't be as many seeds that could potentially create weeds when you use it for gardening. While that is true, there's an economic anomaly taking place within the area I live in. So that anomaly is that hay prices are about 1/3 the cost of straw prices. When you do the math around that and you multiply that by how much hay I'm actually going to be using this winter, the financial difference is significant. And from a bottom line perspective, it's still cheaper for me to buy compost from somebody else and buy this hay versus making my own compost from the straw. As far as keeping ducks goes, I find that hay is the superior bedding medium. Even as I start brooding ducklings next year, I'll be using hay because I find that the wood chips, they tend to eat more. The hay is more like the grass that they'd find out in nature. The hay is also very absorbent and soaks up a lot of moisture pretty well. And it's abundant and cheap. And so there's an economic benefit to going with hay versus other things. I think a lot of times people think they have to pay retail for certain things like hay. So like if you were to go to like a feed store or Tractor Supply or something, you can buy straw or hay, but you're gonna pay like 2 or 3 times as much when you go there. What I've found is to get to know local farmers here, and you're bound to get a better deal on your hay. Because I'm using the hay for the ducks, they're not consuming it like ruminants, so it doesn't have to be as nutritious. So I don't really care if it's first cut, second cut, third cut. All I want is, you know, absorbent, carbonous material. As long as it's dry, I'll use 2-year-old hay. It doesn't really matter to the ducks. They're just gonna poop on it anyway. The duck house is ready for winter, completely insulated. I've got both all the bedding I'm gonna need until probably say May, as well as all of the insulation I'll need to keep the ducks warm. This thing is looking stocked and looking good. I'm excited.